Now, one of the comments said, oh, well, meditation is for beginners. And once you've mastered meditation, you live your life as a meditation. You don't need to sit in a posture anymore and meditate. You make your whole life into a meditation, that everything becomes a meditation, that the purpose of meditation was to be able to turn your entire life into meditation, which essentially makes meditation obsolete and useless at that point. This was the argument that a certain individual was making. And this individual pointed out that many people have stated this. And again, this is a reflection of this fundamental misunderstanding of what meditation is. We take nothing away from their point. Everything that one does, almost, can be turned into a meditation. For example, we have shown wood turning videos. We have shown pottery videos, glass blowing videos. And you yourself in your life, whether it's painting, any type of handicraft, even cleaning the house, loading the dishwasher or unloading the dishwasher, doing the dishes in the sink, you name it, anything can be done in a meditative way. We do not deny that. We do not argue the point that the individual is making when it comes to turning your life into a, quote, meditation. It is possible, but it's not really a meditation. A specific thing that you do, like wood turning or pottery, or there might be one specific thing that captures your focus and concentration to such a degree that so focuses your attention and concentration and so completely envelops you and your consciousness that it becomes a waking meditation. We don't deny that possibility. But the rest of your time and your activities that you are doing requires that you have one eye in and one eye out. And there are so many things to pay attention to be mindful of, that really we're just talking about self-observation and self-remembering. In other words, mindfulness ratcheted up in intensity and focused concentration. It's not a meditation. Anyone who thinks that they can be meditating 24 hours a day doesn't really know what true meditation is. Because if they did, they would know that it is all but impossible to sustain that 24 hours a day while you are physically moving about, while you are having conversation, and certainly while you are confronting circumstances, situations, and others in a dramatic, conflict-saturated environment. The only individuals that could come close to embodying that and experiencing that 24/7 would be resurrected masters. We are not that. And if someone believes that they can do what a resurrected master can here in their unawakened mortal self, this is just the utmost in mystic pride. They're just kidding themselves and fooling themselves and sending entirely the wrong message to others. So again, there is a great deal of misunderstanding, misconceptions, and frankly, erroneous beliefs around meditation. So hopefully today, by doing some more practices, we can arm you with more experience, yes, but also with a more robust toolkit that you can use in your own practice. To do what? To have different angles by which you can connect to your innermost. Not just your innermost being, but the being of beings, and receive information. Because the one point that that individual made in their comment, which was valid, is that the purpose of meditation is to give us a way of practicing, of exercising, in order to develop the capacity to receive information from within, from our innermost, and then take that capacity with us out into the world, into our lives, so that we can access that source of information with us when we need it most, and preferably at all times in all circumstances. Does it mean we are meditating when we are doing that? Well, we are here now doing this live stream. We have computer technology to worry about, microphones, cameras, inputs and outputs. We have to be awake, our eyes open, physically speaking, audibly speaking. Are we meditating here and now in this moment? But this mortal self, you see, this person is receiving information from his innermost being, and he is relaying that information to you. But is he meditating? Objectively, no. I am not meditating here and now. I'm doing a live stream for all of you. And I'm keeping an eye on the comments. There are a couple that we will get to in a moment. And I'm watching all the other technology and making sure that the connection is solid and stable and all of these other things I have to be mindful of. I am just a messenger. I'm passing along information that I'm receiving from Attlas. And we are here performing this activity for your sake. But where did we develop the ability to do so? How did we develop an ability to be able to convey to you information that we are receiving from within, if not through hours and hours in the gymnasium of the consciousness, in the gymnasium of meditation, lifting conscious weights, developing that muscle, developing that capacity of the Buddhic body, the sixth dimensional vehicle of the consciousness. So this notion that meditation becomes obsolete once you have learned how to quiet the mind and then can go through your life with a quiet mind and a blank mind and just do everything with a blank emptiness of mind completely misses the point. Because to be in a meditative state, the artist, the craftsperson, the master plumber or the master baker is following their bliss. They've dedicated and devoted their life to that craft. It becomes truly meditative for them when they, the artist, the mortal artist, is embodying the innermost artist. And it is with that tremendous wisdom and experience and artistry, the capacity to focus and concentrate and pour oneself, one's passion, one's love into one's work. This is the true meditative state, to be a conduit. And we've described this. How often and in how many ways have we described being the vessel which draws water from the well, from the fresh mountain spring, and then pours forth that water for the sake of the village, that pure, crystal clear water which springs forth from the fountain. So it's meditation which allows us to develop the capacity as a vessel to empty ourselves and to cleanse ourselves of all filth, so that when we go to that spring and we allow that pure water to fill us, that water doesn't become tainted and rancid and putrid, so that we can pour it forth in such a way that it remains as pure and refreshing and nourishing and life-giving and life-altering as it was when it sprang forth from the eternal spring. This is what meditation is for. Everything that people talk about in terms of quieting the mind and this and that and the other thing, they are just describing the precursors, the baseline, the absolute bare minimum that is required in order to proceed deeper into that. It is like we are drilling down into the darkness, seeking to make the connection with the source of that spring water. It's like we're digging a well into ourselves so that we can draw from the waters of life, the waters of knowledge, the waters of truth and beauty and love. And if one does not set aside time every day to drill, to dig into oneself, and if one does not practice drawing upon the information and using what they receive in their life You see, self-observation and self-remembering is there so that we can receive. We can receive the still soft voice and know it and discern the difference between the voices in the mind and the still soft voice of the heart, which can advise us moment by moment on so many facets of our life, so many decisions that we need to make, so many crossroads that we face, or conflict or adversarial circumstances. But it's just like anything in life. A musician or an actor or a performer of any kind does not step out onto a stage to give a performance that they have not first rehearsed, that they have not first practiced. And they go out on the road and they're playing the same thing over and over and over again. They've played it a million times in a million locations. Maybe they don't have to practice and rehearse those anymore, but they still do a rehearsal. Every venue they go to, they still do something called a technical rehearsal, and they have to go through the sound checks, and they have to go and prepare themselves for their performance in that particular venue, because every venue is different. Every circumstance we face is different. Meditation allows us to practice, to rehearse, so that when we face new circumstances and new situations, we have within us the capacity to face the unknown and be able to draw on that source from within us to help guide us in the navigation of the new and the novel and the different and the challenging. So all of this, you see, is the importance of meditation as a practice. And that's why we call it practice, because practice makes perfect. And we know that there will be people who will just go on doing whatever it is that they've been doing the same way they've always been doing, and they'll believe that they're living their life 24/7 as a meditation. Everyone's entitled to live their life as they will. But it's a shame that so few individuals seek to be able to consciously bring into the world that which is within them. There is that line from the Gospel of Thomas: if you bring forth that which is within you, that which is within you will liberate you, will give you life. But if you do not bring forth that which is within you, that which is within you will destroy you. And this is why mystic pride and false beliefs and conditioned habits around even the most fundamental aspects of the path, such as meditation, can be so insidious and dangerous, and why we are so passionate about reaching those individuals who they get to a certain place and then they stop. They just keep going on that same level and they never progress beyond there, believing that they either have reached the pinnacle already or believing any number of other grifts of the rational mind that keeps them on that plateau. But of course, we know that nothing stays constant, nothing stays the same. So that plateau eventually starts to degrade. That plateau eventually starts going in the other direction due to the law of entropy, the mechanical law of entropy. Because if it's mechanicity that's keeping you at a plateau, it's mechanicity that's going to cause you to start slowly going on the downward spiral. And it might be so gradual, you might not even notice it. So we just wanted to spend a few moments to follow up on some of the responses to last week's presentation on meditation myths, because they are so vast and so deeply entrenched that it truly is a tremendous uphill battle to try to expand people's consciousness, to see and to know meditation for what it really is and for what it really is for.